Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Lights Out League Racing Season 30, Race 4. And we are with the Div 1 boys as the season's well underway. And last week was an absolute cracker at Silverstone. Very up and down weather conditions played their part. The grid was up and down. Some absolute stormers for one or two drivers that love those conditions. And will we have the same this week? I've heard that there's been some temperamental weather conditions during practice, so we'll see if that happens. Had a bit of a day today. No, I haven't had my hands chopped off. I haven't been stoned. I'm not a woman. I'm just a bit of a rough one, so I'll try and keep everyone entertained as much as I can. As always, good evening, Carl. Good evening, Seal. Nice of you to join us, and let's fucking go. Now, we've got 19 drivers. Quite a good bunch of Div 1 boys missing this week, with it being the last week of Champions League football. But a lot of Div 2 boys have filled in, a couple of reserves as well, which is always good to see. Great community, as always. Saudi Arabia is a very, very tricky circuit for a lot. It's very tight. I've seen, well, I hope you enjoy as a spectator, just as I am. It'd be interesting to see how today gets on. I know, Carl. I know. I've been in DRS with you. But what we'll do to keep you entertained is jump on with Brutus Beer and go for a hot lap. For the first time in quali, as he approaches turn 1, decrease to 200 kilometers an hour in speed to take that corner. Don't take too much of the curb on turn 2. You want to go get exit on the left, avoid the wall. Come to turn 4, blind corner, left hander, stay as close as possible to the wall to minimise the distance. Don't run the curb on the exit 5, flat out through turn 6 and 8. A blind right hander of turn 9, very easy to lose your right front in the wall. Turn 10 with the hardest corners on the circuit if you're taking too much speed. Under sector 1, approaching turn 13, which is a fun bank cambered corner. Take the inside line, which is the best line. Run close to the walls. It is, of course, a very tight street circuit. A blind right-hander again at turn 16 coming up, which is very difficult. This circuit, you need to carry as much speed as possible. DRS will be open again in a second. It's very much like a straight. It's a very minimal corners. Turn 22, blind left corner again. You've got to trust your car and your instincts. Avoid riding the curve too much or you're going to rail into the wall. Final sector, DRS will be open. Overtaking opportunities as we approach the final couple of corners. Take the last corner, turn 27 on the far right. Touch the apex as much as you dare. Open up the throttle, foot down, and drag to the line. And Brutus goes the 128.1. Now I'm potentially under the impression that the 126 is going to be the time which Callum will be looking at as Benedict goes provisional pole, the 27.4. Massive time ahead of Brutus, the elite driver. Got pole last week in Silverstone. Can he emulate that this week? This will be interesting to see. Just like last week, I might need to just answer a couple of messages. I need to re-invite Benji, apparently. Neymar reserving in the RB, 28 flat. And Wesker's just behind him, almost by 900ths. Giza P4, reserve Div 2 driver. Won his first Lights Out League Racing race last week and definitely deserved it. Adamako, the lead Haas driver currently, 28.2 ahead of his elite teammate Katamise, who's 28.7. Capsock's currently P, dropped down to P8 as AJ jumps up to P6. And Josh filling in with on the Ferraris at the back as Higosh, the final drivers, join us thankfully. We've got McLaren doing an out lap, so we'll keep an eye on Lena Zuka, the only one on a hot lap. Joining AJ in the Sauber, filling in for Wainwright as Benji's retired. He's crashed out, I think, in Sector 2. And that's not looking good for the Div 2. A lot of the Div 2 boys kind of use this one as a practice for their main race. And he's already lost a few laps in quali as Linazukin flings his car around. Out of 17. Absolutely pushing to the limits. Hopefully can fare better than Wainwright. First couple of races this season. DNF, both of them. Had a bit of an incident last week as well. Interesting to see what Linazukin can do. He's got the pace, he just can't race every week, otherwise he'd be a full-time. He's a cheeky chappy. Wiggles that back end out the final corner. And crosses the line. And goes on the front row. Provisionally 27.9. It's still half a second behind Benedict. That's an absolute cracking lap from the Red Bull driver. And especially with his teammate missing this week, Amadi. Chessball filling in for him. Keep an eye on Callum then. He's going to be seeing what he can do. And he does go in a 26.4, so a whole second ahead of Benedict. I am under the impression that Callum will be starting from the back. As his main competitors this week are all missing. And that McLaren boy, current championship holder, loves a big challenge. Leading the way currently in Div 1 and in Platinum. But yet, he had a bit of a tricky one actually. He didn't like Miami. He did not like Miami. Just scraped onto on the podium by penalty default. I'd say at the moment, net pole is Benedict. And that's like Chessball goes up to P10. Let's have a look. So quite a few of these boys you'll see in the Div 2 race doing a double header. So we'll keep an eye on Michael in the Mercedes. And luckiest not with us again this week, struggling to find the time alongside his uni. Fastest middle sector for Michael. Where's Michael? Where's Michael? For those that have know the reference, you're an absolute legend. Around the final corner for the Mercedes. Yeah, so with Callum going to be disqualifying Benedict as the elite pole sitter. Michael goes up just behind him with a 27.9. Well, just 100th ahead of Linazukin. Smashing time from the Mercedes. We'll keep an eye on Benja then as he approaches the final sector. Trying to bag some points for the Williams. Oh, and that Mercedes of Benchard gets himself a grid penalty on the racing line. That wasn't good from him. Don't think Benja will be too pleased with that. He thankfully can go another 1 or 2 laps. Let's hope that it doesn't happen in the Div 2. Div 2 rivals, of course. Jack Daniels on pole last week with an absolute cracking final lap. Goes up to the second row, 27.6. And as it stands, will get himself another platinum pole. Find himself a bit of form as the season unfolding. Higosh, McLaren driver in the elite division. Wasn't with us last week, but I'm sure he's got a little bit of pace in his car as he comes out of the final the second sector, sorry. Doing his first run. Benchard, of course, has probably got a damaged car, so won't get a smashing lap. Dan Morris at the rear will be reserving in both races for us. Absolutely loving it. It's Higosh, P5. Great lap. Pulled that one out of the bag. Benchard is on the lap. Sees her head. Might be not, so we'll keep an eye on Benchard. He's going in the pits actually. There's one or two drivers just coming to start a new lap. Let's see who we can catch. Caps lock is straight into the pits then. He's on an absolute, it's got to be Benedict. He's found an extra almost 4 tenths here. Oh, this is going to absolute stormer here from Benedict. Can get himself onto front row. He does. 27.2. The elite driver showing what he can do. There's Katamis up to P9. A bit more extra time. And his second run, AJ is pulling out of this lap. Absolute stinker one there. Brutus is not happy. He's not improving on this lap either. So the pressure getting to 1 or 2. Keep an eye on Wesker. So close to winning the Div 2 Championship last season, but shows some great speed. And even more up to P6, 27.7. Look how tight it's getting as we get nearer the top now. I was just about to jump on Adam, but he goes above his teammate again. P9, 27.9. Neymar above his teammate for this week. Onto the second row. These are RBs looking tasty. Which, Mr. Terry Reds, who's cheering on Brutus, will be loving the sight of this. You'll see Mr. Terry's Reds get himself a 10-second penalty, of course, in the next race. Standard. We've got coming round. It's not Benedict, it's Chessbow on an out lap. Let's keep an eye on Benja then, if he can actually get himself round without being getting shunted from the back end. Around the final corner. And gets himself P17, 29.2. So a good banker lap. He's have time to do another one. As we'll keep an eye on Chessbow. We know he's on a hot lap. He's just over a tenth up. Plenty more time to find as he comes around the bank 13. Apologies, I'll be back with you in a second. Come on. Crown the final sector for the Red Bull driver. Jack Daniels and Callum both doing another lap. As it stands, Callum will have the outright pole, of course, but he'll be disqualifying for the sake of having a great race himself. He's trying to do a last to finish. Pulled out chest bowl. Didn't like that one. We keep an eye on Jack Daniels approaching. Oh, and he's invalidated. He's been kicking himself. I'm sure he was on a improvement. Callum is not improving, so he's messed up as well. And he's probably going to retire here, I think, maybe. Interesting. Let's jump on Mr. Dan Morris then. The Irish Arsenal fan. And he's invalidated. So that's, as I said, turn 12. And there he goes. Callum's disqualified. So he'll be starting from the back, doing a last to first. Dan coming around that turn 10. Turn 10 is a tricky one. You're throwing as much speed, and you've got to flick your wheel to the left. And try and keep it within what line. So we'll jump on the other Ferrari. Mr. Josh had a brilliant season. Lost out to Chespo in the Challenger Championship. Just couldn't fight right to the end. But he's testing his mettle now in the professional tier, and you'll see him around 9 PM UK. That all depends on things like safety cars and whatnot. We shall see. Very tricky tricky circuit, this one. Of course, it's at night, with its being in the Middle East. Temperatures are massively high, so you have to have lower temperatures at this time, otherwise your tyres will be ripped to shreds. Around the final corner here for Josh. Again, getting on the throttle nice and early. Crosses the line, down a tenth, so not managing to improve. So let's see who's coming round beforehand. It'll be Higosh, so he's up a tenth, which will get him up to onto the second row above Jax Daniels. There's some good representation here from the elite tier boys. I know there's one or two drivers missing, but there's one or two platinums that are struggling. Around the final few corners here for the McLaren. A nice little slipstream off the Williams ahead. Looking like a decent time here. Can he get himself onto the front row? Crosses line, and he goes provisional pole 27-1, just over a tenth ahead of Benedict, and he'll be not having any of that, as Dan Morris has called it today. So let's see, Linus Zukan's into the pits. Who's Benchod? It's not a great time, this one, so he'll be jumping in the pits, or going again. He's into the pits, and that's it for him. The highest he'll be starting is P13. As everyone's doing their final run, Josh is in the pits. What can AJ do? He's down a tenth, so I don't think he's going to improve on this. So his highest is going to be his 12. Capsock stays 12th. As AJ going to have a P7, found plenty of time. Chessport to P8. We've got a Haas next. Oh, Katamies. P12 for Katamies. We've got his teammate just come up behind. Adamako, wow, P6 for Adam. He'll be absolutely chuffed with that one. Still learning the wheel. Michael, P4. Benedict cannot beat Higosh, and will start on the front row. It's just Jack Daniels left, who's found 7.5 tenths by the look of it. He's going to cross the line, and Jack Daniels takes pole. He pulled that one out of his arse, and that's back-to-back poles for the Aston Martin driver. I said earlier he was on form, and obviously without Callum, but he's 3 tenths ahead of Higosh, who's on the front row with him. Right. Oh, wow. Left it to last again. And there's a high chance you'll hear him in the Div 2 stream. And we'll have to ask him how it feels. Brilliant lap from the Platinum. And he's now finally he's promoted from the Elite after last season, after winning it. And he's finding his feet now in with the big boys. So that's pole, 26.8 for Jax Daniels. Higosh will get pole for the Elite Championship and join him on the front row. Terry says fine form. Benedict and Neymar On row 2 with Michael and Brutus, Dutch drivers side by side. Adamako P7, his highest qualifying this season, with Wesker alongside him. He'll be nudging him. AJ and Chespo just behind, round off the top 10. Linazukan and Kiza on row 6 with Katamise and Capslock, 13th and 14th. Benchod and Josh, followed by Benja with Benji. Spider-Man meme! Benja and Benji, with Dan Morris and Callum both at the rear as well. Dan Morris is asking which corners Jack's cut. We'll have to ask him in the Div 2 race. But that was an absolutely brilliant lap. And it's looking dry, which I'm quite surprised. It'll be raining in the desert. Expect a sandstorm, but not a rainstorm. And what we're doing is having a couple of minutes while drivers just sort out their setups, sort out their fuel loads. I'd suspect he's had a reasonably lowish wing setup. It's a very high-speed circuit where even a lot of the corners are not proper corners, so you want to try and maximise that top speed. One or two might just crank up the rear wing a couple of notches just to get that extra bit of traction off those slow corners. There's opportunities coming out of turn 2 that you can get better traction, try and make that overtake for turn 4. And even that run out of the final corner, turn 27. With a DRS. Run down to the turn 1. One of the best overtaking spots on the circuit. But we shall see. It's definitely plenty of opportunities for that with the 3 DRS zones. Now, who are we going to see win this race? Let's have hear it in chat. Do we reckon Callum is going to take that top spot from the back of the grid? He's got to carve his way through the field, and it's not going to be an easy feat. It's a very tight circuit. One wrong move, you've lost a wing, you've lost a wheel, you're smashed to bits. A little bit of neck lube. A lot of talking today. Who do I reckon's going to be on the podium then? I reckon Higosh. Terry's reckons Brutus, Jackson, Callum. Interesting. No team bias there, I'm sure. I reckon it's going to be Higosh, Jax, who got P3 last week on Platinum. So I reckon Higosh, Jackson, Callum. Arsenal 1-0. Champions League is underway. Some people are predicting like 7-0. Let's have a look at everyone's strategy then. So most drivers choosing to start on the mediums. Here's a one-stopper. Tyre wear can be rough, especially around turn 13. And 1 or 2 starting on the hards with alternate strategy. So we've got Linazukan, Katamise, Caps Lock, Benja, Dan and Callum. Benja, of course, on the back with his grid penalty. So everyone looking to get a good launch off the line. Tottenham 1-0 as well, away to Frankfurt. Spurs being Spurs. They're going to lose. On this track, of course, first held in 2021. 6 night races. Was here until 2027, until the track is only next year now. Oh no, it's disallowed. Ooh, Spurs being Spurs. Until Qadiyah is built. This track located on the 30-kilometre coastal resort on the Corniche Champion Street circuit, of course, and we'll be switching between this one and Qadiyah over the years, I'm sure. The money-making oil machine. This is a 6.1 kilometre anti-clockwise circuit. 27 corners, 16 to the left, 11 to the right, with 3 DRS zones. This one being the third one we're now approaching. Plenty of overtaking as Jax leads the way round to his grid box. Higosh joins him on the front row. Benedict and Neymar side by side behind. Michael and Brutus 5th and 6th with Adam Mako 7th with Wesker 8th. Hoping big things for Adam actually. AJ 9th and Chessbowl 10th. Lynn Azukan Saubers looking pretty tasty with the Saubers. Keys are 12th. Katamis P13. Him in a battle with Wesker. Wesker winning so far this season. Capsock 14th. Josh 15th. Benja and Benji 16th and 17th with Dan, Callum and Benchod. Jax is in his box with Higosh waiting with intent. There's a 100% chance of a safety car. 50% chance of a VSE. Will we see one? It's a short run down to the line, 168 metres from pole to turn 1 braking point. So it's not far for Jax to defend as it's 4, 5. It's lights out and away we go, and it's a good start from Jax. Higosh slots straight behind him to defend off from Benedict, who has the inside of Neymar has the inside of Benedict, but Benedict has the inside out of turn 2. The Mercedes is riding the wing of the car behind. 1 and 2 jostle for positions. Leonard Zukan's lost down a couple of places. Benchos in main gained a couple of positions. Capstock looks like the biggest gain. We've got a yellow flag. It's Katamis. Looks like the biggest loser. Josh losing a couple of places. Katamis has kept going. Lost. No, his wings intact. So all's well so far. As Jack stayed ahead. Callum already up to P15. Oh, just bunches behind. Kiza Giza goes slightly offline. Gives Benji a potential opportunity to make an overtake, but it's just a slot behind the McLaren. Very tricky in these corners to make the overtake, and especially in the slower cars ahead. You've got to make sure you judge that braking point. It's a very tricky place to overtake us. Callum stays well away. Kiza stays well away. Callum doesn't want to mess up the McLaren's race as he flies around now. P14 looking to make a move on Benji, who's going on the fence, middle of the track. Callum have a look at the inside of the final corner. An easy move there as see Chessbowl getting ahead of the Alpine of Capslock. Those hard tyres not quite switched on yet. Kiza and Benji exchange positions. A Div 2 battle going on. And Kiza currently winning the way so far. A little bit of confidence following last week's race as Benji has to slot behind. And Ferrari's at the rear at the moment. So we jump back on with Jax at the front. DRS is now active in lap 2 out of 25. And looking to try and break free from that 1 second DRS range. At the moment, Brutus running P5. Oh, we've lost Lena Zukan. Coming round turn 9. Santos have come out at 19. It's gone wide. Thankfully, there's a bit of a run-off area coming out of there. Brutus has managed to gain back a couple of tenths, getting back into this DRS train. It's running all the way down to P18. We will find 1 or 2 moves happen. 1-1 Arsenal. Woo! Yeah, pussies. As we see Adam Mako teetering in and out of that DRS. Needs to get back in before this DRS down. Out of 24. You don't want to get dropped out, although you're going to be sitting duck from the cars behind. As Callum carving his way now. P11 on the outside of Capslock. Capslock trying to defend. Callum's got a better launch out the final corner. It's a drag race down to the line. Capslock has the inside. And what a defence drive here from Capslock. He's not giving up to Callum, but Callum forces his way through. Slight collision with Capslock. And up to P11 here for the McLaren then. Brutus has fell out of that DRS chain, so the front 4 have broken free. Dutch drivers having their own battle now. Wesker's got ahead of Adam. P7 for the Williams. A yellow flag, and it's a Haas Academies again. Coming round the flying corner. I think he's lost it coming out of turn 8 and 9. There's Callum and Chesbo. I just can't defend. Callum utilising his ERS. And now hunting down AJ. This is for position. And you can see the speed that Callum. Nothing AJ can do. Try and defend the inside, but with the aid of DRS, it's Benchard. A little cluster of cars on the outside of Keyser. Keyser's defending the inside of the final corner. That's brilliant drives. Benchard has got past. Now, as we see, an exchange position of the Dutch drivers. Michael up to P5, ahead of his compatriot. That's Benji with DRS. To P14, and it'll be interesting to see how these battle as Neymar ahead of Benedict in a very weird position. Terry's very impressed with Callum's gains, and especially on the hard tyres as well. PSG 1-0 against Newcastle. Yeah, must have got it coming round turns 5, 6, 7, which is a very difficult place to make an overtake, but he's made it stick as the front four have all just broken away from each other. Benedict is struggling after his first couple of laps, as we see Callum steaming past Adam just before turn 22. Adam just goes slightly deep, missing his braking point, probably a bit of dirty air behind Callum. We'll have the RS as Callum's hunting down Wesker. Chesbo doing a very good drive, reserving for Amadi. Reserve drivers, of course, get half the points for the car, the constructors they're representing. So the likes of Chesbo and Keyser and for Benja, all getting valuable points for their own teams. Slock siding his way past AJ up to P11. Benchard and Josh, another Div 2 battle. Benchard, Mercedes driver, just staying just ahead as Josh and Dan just stuck in this cluster, which promises a good potential battle here for the Div 2 race following this around 9 PM UK. So stay tuned with us if you want to see some more LOLR action. Ferrari drivers exchange positions coming out of turn 10. Mike says it's crazy. And Leonard Lucas, Josh losing out a couple of positions. Terry's all over the Callum train, 6 seconds off P1. Callum's got himself, Jackson's got himself a good couple of seconds ahead of Higosh. It's a bit of breathing space where he can just manage his tyres, manage his DRS. Higosh the same, he's got DRS break from Neymar as Callum getting past Brutus. He's just unstoppable here, Callum. Very strong on this circuit. Last time raced here, season 28. He took the win. And nothing can say he's not going to do it this time, as Michael on the outside of Benedict. Brilliant overtake from the Mercedes. Benedict stuck here with Callum right on his rear wing. Benchard past Keyser up to P15. This is going to be a really interesting Div 2 battle. Licking our lips for this one. Let's hope no one's got that on loudspeaker. I'll be wondering what you're listening to. If anyone's opened a discreet video from Callum. It's an NSFW. Do not open it with sound on unless you're on your own. I'm still stuck here behind Benedict. You'd probably think that with DRS in a minute he's going to make the overtake, but Benedict's no slouch especially after his qualifying antics. I'm still stuck behind as we've got a yellow flag. It's Katamis again. Round turn 13. As Benedict's going through on Michael. Looks like Callum's going to try and follow him through and do a double overtake on the outside. Benedict defending the inside of the final corner. Callum's just got his nose ahead. Who will have DRS down to turn 1? Callum's going to have to defend. Benedict's coming back at him. Has a look, but Callum's well enough ahead up to P4. Wow. Chessbowl and Caps Lock having a great battle. Exchange positions, but Chessbowl's staying ahead. Top 10 now for the Red Bull. He's going to learn to watch in Div 2. Linzuken ahead of Keys up to P17. Those hard tyres just coming to fruition now. Katami's not having a good race this week. Jax is 3 seconds gap to the McLaren of Higosh. Man City 1-0. Just bear with me a second. Very confident drive from the Aston Martin, and you'd wish him to get the win, wouldn't you? But he's going to have to fend off both McLarens. Neymar closing in on Higosh, and he's going to be stuck between 2 McLarens. As you can see, Callum is steaming up behind him. Liverpool 1-0 against the carrier bag. Is he against Asda, or are they against Tesco? This is Leonard's asking if someone else is racing on Jax's account. That's why Amadee's not here. That explains it. Arsenal 2-1. Goals flying in. Anyone else got an 18-fold Acker? That's a great battle here behind Linzuken, Benchon and Damaris. Cluster of 5 cars. Oh, interesting as we've got Kiza into the pits. Early pit stop, and he's retiring, saving his energy for the Div 2. Caps Lock and Chessbowl having a brilliant battle. As Caps Lock, oh, that was brave at turn 4, and very experienced driving from Chessbowl. Just slots his car behind and doesn't try to be too aggressive. Callum now ahead of Neymar. Actually, what's happened to Neymar? Oh, that wasn't a collision with Callum, was it? Coming out of turn 10. Finds himself down in P11 now. We shall see on the seashore. Callum now P3 and closing in on his teammate. Bear with me 1 second. I'm coming now. Apologies, guys. I am back. I told you I've got a lot on today. Back with you. So Callum's managed to get ahead of Higosh. And now 4 seconds behind Jax. So again, this is good battle behind. Benja losing out. Now down to P17 behind. Both Ferraris struggled through that first sector. Has damaged his end plate, and potentially we'll see him pit and get himself a new wing. Get all this cobwebs off, ready for his racer proper. Benji just keeping Keeser's not a fan of this track. And he's saving it for the next race. Keeser, you've got another race to win, my friend. There's expectations now. You've got one in the bag. Benji just a drift of AJ. So AJ just a little bit comfortable. P11. Chest bowl. Caps Lock having a very good battle. It's been going on for a few laps now. Chelsea 1-0 away to Napoli. Now that's an interesting result. Terry's reckons Jax will fight fight Callum for that P1. He's going to want that win bad, and I suspect so too. Benedict and Michael having a good battle though. Benedict just ahead of Michael. He's pushing him round. He doesn't reckon he's going to be winning. We'll see. You never know what's going to happen. This is our different Neymar. Benji is in the pits. As Neymar did gain that position. Katami's getting just ahead as well. Benji getting on that fresh rubber. 2.5 seconds between the front two. I can imagine Jax just seeing that time coming down going fuck, 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 fuck. Same as Benedict here. The train of Michael, Brutus, Wesker and Adamako battling for this P4. It's Michael just going slightly off track. You don't want too many track limits. Penalties will play their part at the end if it remains as a close battle as this. Under 2 seconds between these 5 cars. Whoa, lost of traction there from Wesker as everyone looks like they're all diving in the pits together. Sorry, is there something I didn't know? It's like someone said there's a shit on the track and they've got to all avoid it. Benji's in as well. Will anyone gain positions in the pits? Caps Lock and Chest Bowls battles carried on, both on different tyre strategies. Of course, Liverpool 2-0 against the carrier bag. They must be against Lidl, as Josh has retired, and he's retired in the pits. Thank you very much, Josh. And he's saving himself for, like I said, race 2, which I don't blame. But thank you for joining and filling in for us. 20 drivers on the grid for this Div 1 race, and we've got 20 for Div 2. You love to see it. As Benji and Katami's having a brilliant battle on track. Katami's just getting past Benja. Defending well through turn 1. Benja on some fresh medium, so should be able to capitalise on the tyre wear of Katami's. This first sector, look how much he's gained. Look on the outside of turn 13, that was an easy enough overtake for the Williams up to P17. Benedict has come out behind everyone in P14. Didn't come well out of those pit stops. Michael and Brutus has gained plenty of time with Wesker in P12 is 2.5 seconds, so pit stops here for all the medium runners. Jax Daniels has come out in P2 after a pit stop. Higosh looks like he is come out on a 2-stopper. Well, this is an interesting strategy call from Higosh. I don't think it was the right one for the McLaren, but it's a brilliant pit stop from Jax Daniels. Come out in clean air and can just run his own race. He's got 2.5 seconds behind Caps Lock, who still got to pit with Lina Zukin. That's a really, really bad pit stop from Higosh. And he's been caught up in traffic as well with the 2 cars ahead on old tyres. Callum can just run whenever he wants to, running out in P1, but losing some time to Jax Daniels is absolutely flying on these fresh tyres, which Callum will do the same. Now he's pit before Callum's even approached him and gained any DRS. It's a wise pit stop from the Aston Martin. Did not want to give any sort of advantage to the McLaren. And let's see what he can do. Lap 13 of 26. Over halfway. Can he claim his first victory a proper? Aslan Izuka now in the pits from P5. And we'll see all those pits go past now. That close gaggle of cars. Interesting to see where Caps Lock comes out and which strategy works out best. As we see Linzu can come out the pits just behind Benchod and just ahead of Dan Morris. That's where you don't want to come out when you pit. Blame your race engineer. You haven't got Jeff, you've got Mark. Mark Goldbridge. You're Pratt. He's got a Pratt as an engineer. Brought him out in the middle of two cars. Hey gosh, brilliant overtake just before 22. Very brave move. You've got to trust the other driver that they're not going to hold their wing on the inside. And both different strategies. Hey gosh, just pit of course. Caps Lock will probably see pit any time now, I reckon. This lap or next. Japs Daniels. Almost half a pit stop behind as Caps Lock does pit now. Callum's carried on. Oh, and he just locks up and over the line. Stops himself to get a penalty. But it'll be interesting to see where Chessball, as he comes down the start finish straight with DRS as well behind Neymar. Chessball on the inside. Neymar hangs it on the outside. Brilliant defence. Oh, goes deep and didn't get a good entry onto turn 2. Out of turn 2. Keeps his car ahead. I don't think Chessball was too pleased. As Neymar smashes against the wall. And Neymar lost his head. Chessball won't be too pleased with that, as he's lost out plenty of places. Down to P15. Still only a yellow flag though. I expected probably a safety car or something. As Dan Morris lets Chessball go through. Doesn't hold him up too much. Neymar should have just, I'd probably say that was unsafe entry to the circuit. With it being such a tight one, if you've hit the wall and gone off, just let the car go past. And Michael, first bunch of this, first one of this bunch. And it looks like Dan Morris has hit the wall, coming round turn 16, 17, damaged an end plate. These walls catching one or two people out now. Hands getting a little bit tight as Callum is now in the pits. He comes out just behind his teammate. Will his teammate let him go? He does. Now that's what I call team play. I'm rubbing myself. We didn't start a fire. I did it my crotch after that. Caps Lock ahead of Linazukan. Down to turn 1. Brilliant overtake from the Alpine. And speed in the pit lane, telling hand gesture for Neymar. And that was all your own doing, I'm afraid. So thank you for retiring in the pits. I do appreciate you reserving for us this week. But he's called it today. Benji and Adam having a good scrap here. 4P8. Adam hasn't managed to stick with Wesker. These hard tyres still getting up to temperature. I think once he's got them to where he wants them, he'll be cruising round. Just closing slightly on Wesker actually. He's lost a bit of time to Benedict. Brutus and Michael, these Dutch boys stuck to each other like glue. Like semen to a sock. In Terry's bedroom. Under his bed, so no one can find it. DRS here for Brutus. He won't be close enough to make a move yet, though. Lap 16 and 25. As we drop down to this battle for P8, and Benji's got himself ahead of Adam. Brilliant drive here from Benji. As Dan Morris getting past Benja. The Bens. I'll start calling Bill and Ben the Flower Pot Men. I swear they touch each other. They're not brothers. Or hillbilly brothers. Man City 2-0. 7.5 seconds now that Jax has got to hold for the McLaren boys. I thought Higosh was going to get pulled by Callum. So Callum's just left him for dead in the dust. Bench shot up to 12th. It's past Lenazukan coming out of turn 10. Not really an overtaking opportunity, but one or two are finding a chance of getting a better launch out of that fast first sector. And yeah, surprising me. That's why I'm not really catching him, seeing him there. But yeah, it's good going. I'm impressed. Chessbowl's joining this battle for P12. Trying to work his way back up. Can't get the fastest lap for now. 29.4. Nicked it last week. Had a great week last week. Silverstone's one of his tracks. Didn't get pole, like I said. Jax Daniels nipped that. I got the win and the fastest lap. Benja and Dan Morris down to the final corner with DRS. Dan Morris will look to retake the position as Lenazukan's taken Benchard. It looks like Katamise again. Someone's put that cat in a bin after clubbing it. Where's that woman? What's her name? She's still in prison. She's hitting a cat into the wall. There's teammate there, Adam. They've both joined up with Wesker now. Wesker is struggling on these hard tyres and is under threat from Benji and Adam. With DRS, they'll close that gap on the Williams driver and put pressure on him to make some sort of mistake. I thought that was Wesker at the wall, but it was Katamise. How's he hit the wall there on his own? He's having a right mare. And he'll probably nip in the pits and go for some softs and go for fastest lap. Benji closing in on Wesker. Having a look on the inside of turn 1. Wesker tried to hang on the outside, but it's a brilliant overtake from the Alpine. Up to P7 now for the Div 2 boy. Going well so far, leading the way. And if he carries on the way he's going, he will get promoted to this division. Good scrap here. He's going to be brave. Oh, he's going to be side by side. Wow. Impressive move by Benchot ahead of Chessbowl. Again, very good awareness from the Red Bull driver. Just pulled his nose out of the way. He's managing to keep his wing intact with some very brave driving from others. Benja and Katamise both pitting. Some fresh tyres on. Brutus and Michael still there. Come on, you two, get a room. Either that or do something that's worth watching. I've got my peephole. I've got my tissues. Let's see some action. Movement, Michael. Still ahead. Benedict watching with intent. But Brutus knows that Michael's got a penalty, so as long as he keeps it within the white lines, he'll jump him and get that P4. 19 is out of 25 and just under 5 seconds gap between Jax and Callum. As AJ picks himself a penalty. Napoli 1-1 with Chelsea. I'm sure everyone's got both teams to score on their ACCA. If you don't, where you been? Dan Morris in the pits. Probably put some more mediums on. Just over 4 seconds. Loads of people will be screaming on Jax. Just got to hold his nerve. I'm pretty sure he had a league race at this track about 2 or 3 weeks ago, so he should be quite adept to it. As what's happened to Benchod? Benchod is on the bench and has lost a couple of possessions to Chesbo and Linazukan. 14. Jax is going to be sweating buckets. Jax is our resident Prince Andrew. In a room full of kids. He's dripping like an egg sandwich. It's under 4 seconds now, that gap. 6 laps to go, including this one. Oh, it's going to be tight. You like to Callum just to let off a little bit and let Jax take it, but Callum is a racer and we don't want people to be gifted races or race wins. Still this battle here for P7. Benji, Wesker and Adam. Adam just sitting behind for now, just preserving some tyres. Will strike when the iron's hot and wait for a mistake. I think him and Wesker be in a voice chat. And we'll be putting on the pressure in more than one way. 3.3 seconds. The clock is ticking. And when will the clock strike Callum? You can see Jax ahead, and you see Jax ahead is absolutely spunked his ERS, same as Callum. So both pushing hard. This is for the race win. It's whoever's preserved their tyres the best on the final couple of laps. As Higosh is pitting, and I forgot that he had to pit again. Going to some softs, that's interesting, so maybe a fastest lap in mind, but he'll be coming out within this battle for P6, so again, his race engineers have not been kind. As he's just come out ahead of AJ, does have a few seconds gap ahead, but if he catches up to this gaggle of cars, they're not going to be easy to get past, and his tyres will be ripping to shreds. It depends if he gets a penalty. Terry's is eyeing up that Brutus podium. I think Higosh has gone for the wrong race strategy. One stopper is definitely the way to go. Brutus has made a mistake though and fell out of DRS. Can Michael get an extra couple of seconds to get himself that podium? A well-deserved podium for the elite. And to be, at the moment, Jax has got the race win and the platinum win. I think Benedict will jump on podium on penalties to get the elite win. So Michael needs to go hell for leather here. Oh no, I think Michael is going hell for leather. I think Michael's realised that Benedict's closed in and will take his win away. 3-1 Arsenal. At 2:25, 2.5 seconds. He's a maniac on the floor. Yellow flag. It's a Ferrari. Dan Morris is crashed out. At turn 16. It's just a yellow flag. What? Why is there's no safety cars? Maybe I should turn it up to full next time. Every time someone sneezes, there'll be a safety car. Just a yellow flag, no overtaking in that few corners. Unfortunate, Dan. I think he's joining us for next race anyway. And they'll be battling a bit further up the grid for that podium. Hey gosh. Side by side with Wesker. Very brave to overtake round through the S's. And squeezes behind Benji. He's inside Benji and forces his way through Benji. No, you've got to get consent. As he lets Benji go back through. Good driving there from Higosh. Very respectful as he must have hit him to cause the ghosting. Got to be trying to get that fast as that is difficult. Up to P6 then for the McLaren. Got another yellow flag. It looks like Benji. I think he's letting the cars go through as he gets lapped. Lap 23 or 25. It's under 2 seconds. I can imagine everybody watching will be trying to cheer on Jax to hold off this Callum charge. Speeding in the pit lane, bench. Hey, what are you doing? Italian hand gesture. 2.5 laps to go for Jax. Not even that, 2 1/3. Callum will have DRS. It's going to be proper mind games and to the wire. Bench is in the pits with some fresh soft tyres, but does have that penalty, of course. As we have a look. Adam and Wesker and Benji. This battle still here for P7. If Adam needs to move, he's going to have to strike like a cobra. Pounce when the iron's hot. We've lost a Sauber. Linazuken. Out of turn 16. It's caught 1 or 2 a cropper on the penultimate lap. As we're approaching now of sector 1. Jax is still ahead. He's pushing hard. As Adams made a move on Wesker. With DRS. Down to turn 1. And he's been biding his time. Now up to P8 and he'll be hunting down Benji for that 7th spot and get his best race finish of the season. It'll be P4 anyway for him in the Platinum, so it'll be a brilliant result for the Haas. But give him some good confidence going into next week's race at the Hungaroring. 1.2 seconds. He hasn't got quite into DRS range yet. It's a good launch out of the final corner for Jax as he starts the final lap of the race here in Saudi. He'll try and swat Callum off as much as he can. We'll keep an eye on these two for this final lap. Round through 6.28. He's still got 1.2 seconds. He's got a better line through here than Callum. And pretty equal, but Callum's got a better traction out of turn 10. Are these medium tyres just wearing a little bit? He's got to keep it over 1 second to try and keep him out of the DRS. As we're approaching turn 16. Callum will have 3 attempts. He's not in DRS though. Or is he? Callum had his foot down through 16 and 17. Oh, this is going to be shameful. Napoli 2-1. Let's hope Jax has got as much DRS as possible. This is going to go down to the line. He's got back over a second here. Callum's made a mistake going through turns 22 and 23. And this could be enough for Jax as he comes around the final corner for the final time. It's under DRS range, but Callum isn't close enough. And Jax has got it sewn. Wonderful drive from the Aston. Took pole, and he's taken the first race win in Div 1 in Saudi Arabia. Callum takes P2. Brilliant drive from both. Callum trying to do last to first, but just wasn't enough for Jax. And I think that call to pit before Callum got to DRS was the way to go. Michael crosses his line P3, but will get jumped by Brutus, who takes P3 and the podium. Benedict crosses the line. Michael actually takes P4 and P1 in the Elite Championship. Benedict takes P2. Higosh takes P3 in Elite. Benji comes home P7. Adamako P8. Couldn't get past Benji, but does get ahead of Wesker, who's P9. AJ will round off the top 10, but gets jumped on penalties by Capsock, who takes P10. Chessbowl P11. AJ then will come home P12. His teammate Linda Zukin coming round for the final time. Jax's first lights out P1, and I think everyone will be absolutely thrilled for him. Linzukin 13th, Mr. Benchhod will come home P14, 15th for Benja, and Katamis will take P16. Absolute cracking race. Those are thrilled drivers in the Discord chat. But there is your race winner. We had an Aston Martin winner last week in Div 2. And we got another one this week. Aston Martin, very, very strong start to the season. And it's a strong start to Jax. Takes the race win. Fast lap did go to Callum. And did get the most overtakes. But we'll go to your order. Jax Daniels coming home. Congratulations to him. Took pole and the race win. Callum comes from P19, comes home P2. Fastest lap with a 29.4. Brutus Beer on the podium again. Comes home P3. Congratulations to him. Michael P4 and the P1 in Elite with Benedict and Higosh. P2 and P3 respectively. Benji P7. Adamako P8. Best finish of the season. Wesker P9. And Capstock round off the top 10. Chessbow 11. AJ 12. Linazukan 13th. Benchard 14th from the back of the grid. Benja 15th, 16th for Katamis, 17th for Dan Morris, who retired alongside Neymar, Josh, and Giza. Whoo! Now that was an absolute stormer, and I'm pretty sure we're going to get underway with the Div 2 race around 9 PM, and that's going to follow suit, I'm sure. But if you want some more Div 1 action, join us next week where we are at Hungaroring, and it's a special race, first of our mandatory tyre races, which means every driver has to use a set of mediums, softs and hards within the race, so makes it all about strategy, not necessarily pace. But like I say, if you want some more tonight, just jump back in to us as we will jump on with the Div 2 boys. Thank you for joining us. My name is Alex. This is Lights Out League Racing. Peace out.